So continuing with the page and the info boxes, what we need to do is we need to create a row that contains two rows. This is basically because we need to separate sections from each other, because different sections could be different colours, or we could have like a background in a section. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a row, just a general row, this one here. I'm going to move it up to here. Okay, it's gone too far up. Let's put it below there. Need to move at the moment. Okay. So within this row, we're going to create two rows. So there's the first row, and then I click on there, and it's part of that column. So that's one row. That's what we need to do. So I've created another row. Let's do that one there. We actually have a row already that the info boxes are in. So yeah, let's just go ahead and we can drag this custom header into this row. Just try and get it so that it sits in there without jerking the screen around. So there's our custom header. We should then be able to drag our other row. So drag that into here. Yeah, that's in there, but it needs to be swap those around. Okay. Let's delete these other rows. So what we now have is we have a row with two rows in it. This row is our 1 by 1, and this one is 4 by 4 that we created before. So once we have that as a section, we can then, when we add other sections, it will be distinctly separate, because we're going to change the colours and other stuff of certain sections. If they were all in the same section, we wouldn't be able to do that. Plus, with this outer row, inner rows, with this outer row, what we can now do is do some row settings, and within here we can add our padding. Let's make it 40 pixels there, 40 pixels there. Save those changes. Now going back to the custom heading, there's a setting within here for the divider, separator. We actually want it on the bottom. Let's put a little bit of spacing above it. Save changes. I'll update that. Make a new tab. Let's scroll down. That looks better. I've got a bit of a gap in there now. You can see that whole section is spaced. Again, you can play around with the spacing on here. There's other stuff you could do in there. I'm pretty sure that we should be able to change the custom heading section, so that's in a row of its own. So what we can do here in that row, it says inner row settings, design options, put some padding 20 pixels below it, update that. You should be able to make like a little gap in there. There you go, put a little gap in. So you can play around with those sizes and the gaps and what have you. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add a parallax section. So it's a little image that will move in the background with stuff over the top of it. So I'm going to add another row, a whole new row within there, and I'm going to edit the settings of this row. I'm going to do stretch row because I want it to stretch it to full width of the screen, and that's okay. So we're going to use parallax, so we're going to say simple, and we're going to add an image. So I already uploaded an image. It's better if its height is thinner. So if you do that, you're more likely to get in the piece of text that you want. If it was like a large height, then it would kind of try and estimate it, and you might not always get the text or whatever you want in there. It's also a good idea to use a dark image. This isn't a dark image, but you'll see why in a minute. Because when we float text over the top of it, we want it to look good, so you can see the actual text. So I'm going to set that image, and let's leave that as it is for now. Save those changes. So this is now got a parallax image in it. So again, I'm going to use a custom heading. A bit of custom text. So don't delay. Put today. Simple like that. Align it to the left. I'm going to change the colour, drag it into, see how you can get all these colours. I'm going to drag it into the top left so it's white. Click out of there. Use the default family, and I'm going to save those changes. Okay, so we now have this row with custom header in it. I want to add another element into here, so here we go, prepend, and I'm going to add a text block. So there it says on the text block, and I'll just leave that text in there. This is where you can add a piece of text if you wish. I'm going to click into here, and no, not within there. Somewhere in here, we are going to change the colour. Okay, we might have to come back to this in a second. Okay, let me just save the changes of that as it is, because it might actually be on the settings. Okay. You can't actually change the colour of that text without actually going into do some HTML. So you go into the text block settings, go into text, what you're going to do is you're going to use this piece of code, which is span, style, color, and then white for that. And then you always have to end with a slash span. So start with the less than character, span, space, style equals, and then in quotes, color, colon, hash, and then 6 Fs, semicolon, quote, greater than sign, and then end it there. So if I save changes with that now, there, you can't see anything actually because we've changed it white. So I'm now going to add a go button, which is there. Okay, here we go. Call that book now. We can then select a URL. So what we do there is we'll put a link into somewhere they can contact you or yeah, book you. So we're going to use outline, rounded, size. Let's make it large, and we don't need any CSS in there. So let's save the changes to that. Do a little update. And if I refresh that, okay, so I'll scroll down, and there you can see we've got a parallax piece of text. Now we could probably do with making this a bit larger. The way we can do that is just to put a bit more text in there. So if I was to, well, I could literally go into this text here, edit it, design options. Well, actually, it's what I can do here is, let's just see what it is. If I click there, that's automatically split the span for me. Look, so it's done that. Let's put a little space in there for me. I can also put in some padding. Save that. So that's increased slightly. Let's go and put in a bit of padding for the button as well. So we've got a bit of padding on the bottom of the red already. So on the bottom of the previous piece of text, so we probably don't need any on there. It should be enough. But let's put some on the bottom. Let's update that. Let's just do that. There we go, we split that down, we put a little bit of a break there. We could probably even put some padding on top of there, just to, you know, maybe 5 or 10 would do, just to bring that down a bit. And you can see, you can actually see, if you go slowly, that image that moves underneath. There is something you can do to make it so it just stays exactly where it is underneath, so that so it's less parallax, but it's kind of like fixed on the background. So as you scroll up, it goes right over the top of it. So you'd have to see that for me to explain it properly. Okay, so I'm going to move on to the next section now.